I have the simplest wine making idea for you. First, you will need sugar. The sugar is right here. That's the sugar. Second, you will need the grape juice. Third, you will need the yeast. That's the key ingredient. There's a kind of yeast that you can use for either red or wine or red or white wine, but this one I believe this one is good for both, and since I do not care for white, I make it red wine, so I'm using this one. And I also have a pair of scissors so I can cut the yeast. So basically the drink that I had was way too much, so what I did, I put some juice right here, right? And so now the garland looks like that, right? And for that amount of drink I need 1 cup of sugar. So what I did, I poured the sugar in the container, in the drink, and you know I have to dissolve it. So what did I do? I shake it, okay, dissolve completely. And I learned that when you are making wine, the amount of sugar that you need should be 20 to 24%. So what I did, I put 1 cup of sugar, and after that I wasn't satisfied. I used at least 4 cups. I had already made the video, and for some reason everything was already taped, and all of a sudden, you know, it just shut off on me. So even though I had prepared this one at the beginning, so since I already did it, I decided to redo the video again so I cannot show you all the demo. But basically that's the juice. As you can see, you know, I open the container, I pour some right here, because since I'm going to add sugar and yeast, so the sugar and the yeast, both of those things, they're going to do some great deal to the juice. That's what they call fermented. So those things, they're going to make the juice rise up. So because the juice is going to rise, I cannot let the bottle stay full, so I have to make sure that I keep the bottle half full. The bottle was already all the way here, but after I put the sugar, it rise up a little bit. So I put the yeast, and every time I put something, I would just shake it. So as you already know, it's not going to be dissolved completely, but at least I do what I think it's important. At least I do shake it, so at least it doesn't stay still right there on the bottle. And I have never seen anyone making wine and add a little extract in it. So myself, I like to be creative, so I add a little teeny tiny extract on it to make it smell good, to make it tasty, and to make it very interesting. So I didn't put too much, so the amount that I put was, you know, a little teeny tiny bit, but what it does, it's going to enhance the taste. Okay, so, and that bowl that I had, it's just because when I was dropping the sugar, so I let the bottle sit right here in that bowl. So as I drop the sugar, as I make everything, at least I don't make any mess. So everything will remain either on the table, everything will remain on the bowl. So, and this is the simplest wine making thing, because if I was making, you know, some kind of other wine, I would just have to use a big container. I would have to use, there's a kind of stick that you use, I don't remember the name, to stir your the sugar and everything that you put in the wine. And once you put that thing, what it does, it has that kind of a thermometer that will read the amount of sugar you put and will tell you if it's 24. This one, since it's simple, what I know this is a bottle of juice, and I learned that the amount of sugar that I have to put should be 24. I use my common sense. I don't have no way to measure, so my measurement, I use 1 cup of sugar. And after that I tasted it. After I tasted it, I realized, you know, even though it's sweet, it is not sweet enough for wine. So I use a couple more spoons, you know, this one, and plus I put a little tiny bit. Add it. At least I know for a fact now I'm right there on that range from 20 to 24. So that's the max for making wine making. So, and after you finish to do that, what you do, you use some either scotch tape or clear tape, whatever tape that you have, basically, because the juice is going to be fermented, so that means it will rise. The lid shouldn't be too tight, because if the lid is really tight, it can just explode in the house. Okay, so what you do, even when you put the lid, you loose it. It should be loosened a little bit, right? Some people put balloon on top, so as it rises, so it will go on the balloon will just pop out somewhere. But I'd rather not do that. First of all, I don't have balloon. Second, I don't like to use balloon, so it's easier for me to just tape it right around the edge of the thing. And once you finish, you're going to clean the container now, because it's kind of sticky, so I'm going to wash it very well and put it inside a place, you know, that has good room temperature. So you can either put it in the closet. I have an empty sink that I don't use, you know, in the basement, you know, where I have water and everything. So I'm going to let it sit right there by the sink, because it's cool. So even though the water is not on, but at least I'm going to let it sit right there on the edge of that around the counter. So, and every now and then I will make sure that I look at it just to see what's going on to the wine. And if you want to make wine, the longer it stays, the better it tastes. So if you want to show off to your friends by letting them know that you know how to make wine, you should never make the wine today and let them drink it tomorrow. It's not going, you know, the yeast is not going to do the job as it should. I suppose if you leave it, you know, for like 2 weeks, 1 month. So like I said, the longer the better. And you know, after you make it, you can always taste it to see if you feel satisfied, you know, with the yeast. Because when you taste it, you know, there's a way that, you know, go that like that with your tongue. And you know, like if you feel if it's comfortable on your tongue, that means it tastes good. You know, when you taste something, the feeling it gives you on your tongue, you can tell if it's good or if it's bad. Because sometimes if you don't put enough either sugar or enough yeast, when you try to taste it, it tastes really sour. And after a long time, sometimes, you know, you really don't want it. But if you make sure that you taste it, you know, probably after a couple days, and you realize something is missing, whatever that is missing, you still can always add it. But basically, you know, mine is not all, I just made it, and the taste is just perfect. So I already know when it sits in, you know, either in the closet or on the cabinet, wherever that I put it, you know, when I use it, I know I'm going to be very pleased. Okay, so basically this is the simplest way for wine making. You know, there can be some one can be extremely complicated, but this one is very simple. Basically, that's your grape juice, some sugar, and the yeast. And what you do, you just shake. Okay, dissolve. And after that, you just take, you wash and let it stay where, you know, for some good room temperature. And you know what, after a couple days, after a week, after a month, your wine is ready to be served. So this is my last video for tonight. So hopefully you like it, you enjoy it, and please keep me posted. Okay, let me know. Thanks so much. You have a great night or a good morning, if I may say.